Welcome to the Kenneth L Show, where careers, culture, and community coexist. And we explore what it really takes to thrive in today's evolving workplace. Today is actually, I guess, an exploration day. Happy Indigenous People Day to all. I'm Kenneth L. Johnson, coming to you live on 106.5 FM WPPM Philadelphia and streaming worldwide. Also broadcasting live on LinkedIn. Listen, if you're out here in Philly, I guess dabbling, walking around in the rain, or in your car, just riding through, please, I want to thank you for joining us today. I sincerely appreciate it. Everybody on LinkedIn, same to you. Streaming worldwide, we do this each and every Monday, 2 p.m., live on WPPM 106.5 Philadelphia. Let's get to it, man. I'm excited today. Before we bring in today's incredible guest, I want to take a few minutes to talk about what's happening right now, pretty much across the country, definitely, and what it means for workers worldwide. You know, if you've been following the news, you've seen the latest. We have a government shutdown going on. The Office of Management and Budget confirmed that federal workforce cuts have already begun as the government shutdown continues. So this means thousands of public sector employees are being furloughed, people who process benefits, manage grants, and keep essential programs running. But here's the thing, beyond politics, beyond policy debates, there's a very real human impact. You know, these individuals are families. They have mortgages, student loans, everyday people who now find themselves caught in uncertainty through no fault of their own. So, while this is hitting government employees directly, it also is a reflection of something we're seeing across the industry. And by industry, I mean all industries, instability. Today's world of work is unpredictable. And that's different from me. You know, I've seen periods of growth and I've seen times when things have happened that have caused a shake in the workplace. I've been doing this quite some time. When I say doing this, I'm talking about talent acquisition, recruitment, sourcing, workforce trainings. I've been doing that work for a while. So I've been through the situation that happened after 9/11. I've been through the dot-com bust. I've been through the housing market bubble burst. COVID. All were things that happened that in turn caused some disruption in the workforce. And this is a little different. A government shutdown, corporate layoffs, AI's reshaping industries. The reality is the stability isn't guaranteed anymore. And that may sound unsettling, but anyone who's ever had a workshop or participated in any type of training with me, I always say that there is opportunity hidden in disruption. And I believe that to be true. When we talk about navigating change, we're really talking about the same core skills that define successful careers today: confidence, adaptability, and purpose. Again, hear me out. Confidence, adaptability, and purpose. We're going to live in this. I think this is the world we're going to be in. There will always be disruption in the workforce, more now than ever. But I think if you hold on to those three foundational tools or foundational pillars, confidence, adaptability, and purpose, you'll start to secure your skill sets and learn how to tell a story about where they add value. Those traits aren't really nice to haves anymore. They're essential. And that's what today's conversation is about. Our guest today has built a career around helping people find exactly that kind of confidence. I'm excited to welcome Harleny Vasquez, founder and CEO of Your Evolved Mind, LinkedIn learning instructor, career coach, co-author. She's helped 3,200 professionals this year alone, guiding college students, Gen Z professionals, and early career talent to navigate uncertainty, build self-assurance, and develop leadership skills that open real opportunities. With a 95% job placement success rate, she's proving that when confidence meets strategy, careers grow, even in challenging times. So as we continue to celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month, this conversation should be more timely, couldn't be more timely. We're diving into how culture shapes confidence and how young professionals can lead and where they are, and how community plays a key role in long-term career success. Let's really get to it. I'm excited today to invite this young lady to the stage. So work with me here as we bring Harleny Vasquez to the Kenneth L. Johnson Show. Hey,
Hey, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
man, I'm excited to have you too. I wanted to be in studio with you today, but I am broadcasting live from New York City. We're Philly proud. I got the Philly gear on today. So we're on 106.5 FM here in Philly. We stream worldwide and we're broadcasting on LinkedIn. So our audience is here to see you and appreciate the things that you do. Tell us a little bit about yourself, please.
Yeah, so my name is Harleny Vasquez. I am the founder and CEO of Your Evolved Mind, which is a career consulting platform dedicated to supporting the next generation of leaders. So, as you mentioned, college students, recent grads, early career professionals, to really help them navigate the next steps in their career, especially in this current job market. I serve as a career coach, college speaker, and overall, just giving them the tools they need for career success.
Man, I love the work that you're doing. I love the work that you do. I know I've been watching you on LinkedIn and kind of seeing you do your thing. Talk to me about how you got into this space.
Yeah, so I am a licensed social worker by trade, and even though I'm a Jersey girl now, born and raised in New York, and for a period of time, I really worked with children and families in social services, foster care, shelter system, and it wasn't until I stepped into leadership that I was like, wait a minute, I'm becoming more invested in my team's overall professional development goals than I was with the families that I was serving. So as you can imagine, when I stepped into leadership, I had a little bit of recruiting, a little bit of HR, a little bit of onboarding. And, that particular experience really led me into pivoting into career coaching, recruiting in tech as well, because I am definitely multi-passionate and wear many hats. And I've had the pleasure of also, being a clinical recruiter for the past 6 years, really focusing on supporting and recruiting behavioral mental health professionals, especially as, we have a mental health crisis right now. So,
Yes.
within that path also led me into just building a brand on LinkedIn and just sharing my story, sharing tools, and just supporting the next generation. Same time while I was also trying to figure it out back then.
Well, you've clearly figured it out. You've built a platform around helping people lead with confidence. In your experience, what's the biggest misconception young professionals have about confidence, and how can they start building it authentically?
Oh my God, I love this question because honestly, people often think is that confidence is just going to come out of nowhere and it's something that you're born with, but it's something that you have to build within yourself and you have to give yourself that permission to succeed, right? We know imposter syndrome is going to knock down your door, but it's basically confidence is honestly a skill, right? It's not a personality trait. It's something that you have to be able to build within yourself, right? Build those habits, start with self awareness, right? And if you don't really know your strengths, ask people who know you and say, hey, what are the things that I'm really good at? And really take those baby steps to kind of recognize, okay, I'm good at this, I'm good at that. Maybe I have some areas of improvement here. And the confidence will build, right? Because it could be as simple as I'm not that you start thinking that I'm not good enough, right? And you start kind of making that your reality. And that's going to hinder you from being able to step into these spaces as confident as possible. So I always say, like, give yourself some grace. And I think the biggest thing you could start do is pay attention to how you talk about yourself. It could be as simple as you're looking at a job description and you're like, I'm not gonna apply. There's no way. I'm not gonna get the job. And deep down, you know that you meet the requirement. So pay attention to how you talk about your skill set and also create like a wins folder, right? Like pay like literally do an inventory of the things that you thought you never were gonna achieve and you ended up achieving, because as you know, the brain is truly powerful and you need to give your brain the evidence that it needs to recognize, wait a minute, I am confident, I can achieve what I thought was impossible.
I love that you started speaking about confidence. It's interesting because, studies have proven, especially in the career space, that individuals from underrepresented communities, minorities, and women in the workplace often do have imposter syndrome, often don't ask for what it is that they want or deserve. This conversation is happening during Hispanic Heritage Month. How has your cultural identity influenced the way you coach, connect with your clients, and how do you see culture shaping confidence in the workplace?
Yes, I mean, I identify as first generation Latina myself, oldest daughter of immigrant parents. So I truly, truly understand trying to figure out next steps, trying to pave your way, how to even step into these spaces that maybe you don't feel heard, seen, or validated. I understand firsthand, which is why the work that I do with my clients, I bring that warmth, I bring that validation because I'm like, listen, you're not alone. I know exactly what you're going through, right? So some of the times that I coach my client, that want to make sure that at the core of my work is always making sure that mental health is at the core of everything that I do, right? Because I want to make sure that my clients have the tools that they need to overcome those the limiting beliefs, right, that continue to get in the way because of those systems were really not defined for us, right? And I think it's important that when you think about how culture shapes confidence at work, it really starts with identifying, okay, if you're not aware what are your core values or what are the things that are going to make you you, and then you step into a space that there's like conflict and you're like, wait a minute, I don't feel like I can be myself, or I don't feel that I can be seen, then that's going to give you not give you the roadmap that you need to be able to achieve, your particular goal. So I think it's important that culture is always going to shape confidence at work, right? Because if you're, let's say, in a toxic work environment, or you're in a work environment that doesn't support your values or your overall morals, then there's always going to be conflict every single day. And at the end of the day, what that's going to lead to is going to end up, making yourself feel like, am I the problem? Am I the issue? Right? Rather than like, no, 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 I'm not the issue, right? It's the environment that I'm in. So I think that, culture is always going to shape confidence in the workplace depending who's your surroundings and how the work environment is and how you view yourself as well.
I can appreciate that. Here on the Kenneth L. Johnson Show, we brand it as a place where career, culture, and community coexist. I think to the things you're speaking about, there's another side of that, and that's the side that where you're confident and you're bringing your full self to work, your full work self to work. And sometimes your cultural competence can allow you to really have some value in the workplace and do some positive things and bring some positive ideas to the table. Have you seen that, and do you share that with your clients?
Absolutely, because at the end of the day, you want to be able to be in an environment that you can be yourself, that you can bring those traditions as well, that you can feel like, okay, holidays are coming, all right. I want to be able to feel supported and maybe have a potluck. I mean, I know it's different if you're like hybrid, remote, and all that stuff, but even the littlest things when it comes to embracing your own culture and being in an environment that's going to allow you to embrace that to a full potential, like Hispanic Heritage Month, right? Like, what are
Yes.
the things that your company is doing to make you feel validated, make you feel seen? Like those, all those things matter as well.
It's interesting. I didn't think about this in some of our other conversations. My background, I come from a background where I was a family counselor. I've done that work. And you mentioned something about, some mental health things and what different things come into the workplace with individuals. Um, and wow, I'm thinking about your background, and then you combine that with recruiting and talent acquisition. And I would believe that you're probably one that values the story. Tell me a
Yeah.
little bit about, how you've leveraged storytelling with your clients on both sides of that. You kind of explaining a little bit about you to establish trust, but also you hearing their stories out or teaching them how to, I guess, share their stories in that interview setting for success.
100%. So I'm always having my coach hat on and also my recruiter hat on. And as you know, from a recruiter perspective, when we're interviewing candidates, it's always going to be about the job that we're trying to fill, right? It's always going to be, is there alignment? Can the individual do this job? So it's all those things that we're coming into the interview heads on. Now, from a candidate perspective, when I coach my clients, it's important for them to feel comfortable enough to share their story, but never lose sight that the way that they market themselves and the way that they position themselves as an asset is always going to be in relation to the type of job that they're trying to obtain, of course, right? So I think it's important for number one to get a comfortable of what is your story? What do you want to be known for? What are your transferable skills, right? Giving them the space to kind of recognize, look at everything that I have accomplished so far. Look at all the challenges that I face, right? Maybe I am, example, a career changer, right? And I'm able to now want to be able to kind of get back and really start from thinking of how can I, okay, I have my screen. So I'm really thinking about, okay, if I'm a career changer and now I'm going to be stepping back into a different industry, and this is a career path that people didn't like. Let's say you're going from marketing into like social work, right? Or even going from engineering to, marketing or something like that. That's part of your story, right? That narrative got you to where you are today. So I think it's very important that I always get that place for my clients to really recognize that, give yourself grace. That journey led you to where you are today, and that's part of your story.
Man, amazing. I love that. I love the way you've actually positioned that to be an asset and value as you continue to service your clients. All right, let's talk about this, right? So I have a question for you. We're in a place right now, I spoke about it earlier in the show. Many early career professionals are navigating uncertainty, from layoffs to AI disruption. What strategies, Harleny, do you share with your clients to help them stay career ready and resilient in these challenging times?
Of course, the number one thing, and I'm going to sound like a broken record, of course, giving yourself grace. You have to give yourself grace. That's the number one thing. I think
Yes.
it's important to also honestly kind of build like a career insurance policy from the lens of really honing in on your
Hold on.
transferable skills.
Talk to
Those
me about that. Talk to
what
me about that. Talk to me about that. The career insurance policy. I love it.
it's literally like you identifying those transferable skills, because here's the thing, you want to become the solution to the company's biggest problem,
Yes.
regardless of where you go, right? So if you're able to really hone in on those transferable skills and really maybe showcase, other things that you did, freelance work, right? Other side projects, but also your brand, right? Your brand. You have to give yourself that permission to be seen. And trust me, I hear all the time, like, I'm employed and I don't want my employer to know that I'm building a brand. Like there's a difference between you building a brand and you monetizing, right? Like that's totally different. I always say, obviously, look at the employee policies and see what you're allowed to do within your company, whether you can monetize. But a brand, that's your brand, right? No one can take that away, right? You can build a brand by you just showcasing who you are, your story, right? Your visibility. But I think part of that career insurance policy, if you're able to really hone in on all the skills that you have gained or besides titles, and you're also able to kind of elevate your LinkedIn presence, online presence, and utilize your network. You know that saying, your network is your network, is
Yes.
absolutely true. If I can sit here and say, LinkedIn helped me with this and this and this and this, that's the truth, right? When it comes to my career path. But I think even part of that career insurance policy is that you don't view AI as a threat. I want you to use AI as a tool, because example, whether it's ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, all of these, there's ways that you can use AI to amplify your work, right? Let's say you want specific data on specific metrics that you're like, I don't know how to break this down when it comes to the impact that I created, or even the most important thing, build rituals on like who did I support with, what did I learn, what did I achieve, and most importantly, what was the outcome in all of this, right? So I think the biggest thing when it comes to strategies as a whole, obviously your mental health has to be at the core front. You got to be able to pour into your cup before you can pour back into others. And
Yes.
number two, you need to be able to literally do an inventory of your skills, the areas of improvement that you may need, and build your brand and utilize your voice, because no one can take that away.
You know, so of course you're a co-author, you're an author, and I know you have some books out there. I'm listening to your cadence and some of the things you speak about. So prepared, so professional. Are there any resources or tools that you've used, like a book, a white paper, a website, a podcast, anything that you've used or leveraged to kind of help support you in your career?
Oh, therapy, y'all. Go to therapy. Right, go to therapy. I'm so serious. Go to therapy. And I think the biggest thing, no podcast, no anything. It's really been, besides therapy, is becoming aware of my limiting beliefs. Journaling has really come a long way for me, and being able to just visualize, like, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not perfect, right? Where none of us are, but I think, being able to just take that inventory, like, wait a minute, I talk so negative about myself when it comes to this obstacle or this challenge, and build your tribe. Build your tribe. You have to be able to build your tribe of people that are going to uplift you. Because trust me, there's always going to be someone trying to dim our light, trying to say you're not going to achieve that, or why are you doing this, or why are you doing that. Those people don't matter. The people that matters are they're gonna the ones that stick to your side, that believe in your ability. Because as long as you continue to surround yourself with that, then everything else you're just protecting your energy. Because again, people are gonna tell you no sometimes, and that's
Yeah,
okay.
no is a real thing, yeah, but don't be afraid of no, right?
Exactly.
Listen, so you said something real interesting, to build your tribe piece. You know, we talk about this on the show all the time because it's career, culture, community. So you build a community of people that you can not only learn from, but you can support as well, right? People that have maybe similar values, people that have some different values, just to kind of well round out that community. As you walk through your career space, you know, especially some of the people in younger and early career individuals, I hear them say, can I really reach out to that person on LinkedIn? Oh, this person probably won't want to talk to me. How do you overcome that negative talk? And I say negative talk lightly. I think it's an imposter syndrome. I think it's also just a little bit of early career fear that people are going through. But how do you help people combat that?
Yes, I mean, first I want to mention, y'all, it doesn't matter what your early career, mid career, senior. I still deal with that. I'd be like, oh, should I message them? I don't know. I mean, honestly, kind of even when I was like, oh, should I message you? I don't know. And you take your shot, right? Like you just never know. But it,
Hold on, look, let's stop. Let's stop. You did it, and we're here talking on the show.
yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah, it happens.
yeah, exactly. Taking your shot. I think the biggest thing is that, again, going back to that narrative that you end up creating in your mind, just that thought becomes bigger and bigger and bigger, and then it takes over. Like, I can't reach out to them, they're going to reject me, they're going to say no, they're going to say that I don't have these skills, whatever it is, right? This narrative creates so much that it kind of hinders you, and you're like, wait a minute, you freeze, right? So I always tell everyone, and let's just start with LinkedIn, because I know that's like the easiest way to kind of reach out, right? Networking is a whole other persona that you got to like prep for, but at least when it comes to reaching out on LinkedIn, I want you to view this and remind yourself, LinkedIn is a networking platform, right? You're here to hold conversations, and it gives you access to people for free globally. And honing in on protecting your energy, that's what you have to do. You have to go in there, literally prep yourself. I'm going to go in here, I'm going to message people. They're not going to respond back. Some might, great. That does not mean anything when it comes to my worth, my reflection, my skills, right? It's literally like you're training your brain, right? Like kind of the marathon. And meet yourself where you're at, right? I think sometimes people think a LinkedIn, social media, personal brand, that you have to become this whole content creator and influencer. Obviously, I'm a content creator or influencer, or however you want to call it. But the other person, you don't have to do that. You literally can just be on LinkedIn, update your LinkedIn profile, showcase your portfolio, network, and that's it. And do everything behind the scenes. What I mean behind the scenes is messaging people, doing informational chats, because best believe in this job market, it no longer is what you do, it's who you know, what you do, and what you offer, right? So it's so important to have all of that. Even when you start thinking about who to network, one thing I'm gonna say is build your own board of directors. And what I mean by that is you can start with a mentor. Who's gonna be my mentor, right? Who can I reach out? Are you seeking mentees? Maybe you can try to seek a particular sponsor, right? Who's going to be someone that's going to advocate you in rooms that you're not in? And then who's a peer? Maybe someone who just graduated, someone who is an alumni, right? And then someone that, maybe you can supervise, not supervise, like mentee, as you continue to navigate your path as well.
Sure. All right, Harleny, you talk about developing leadership skills at every stage of a career. So what are a few simple but powerful ways Gen Z and early career talent can start showing leadership even before they have the title?
Oh, I love this. And honestly, y'all, this is something that I started doing on early in my career, because once I graduated, I was able to secure a supervisory role without ever being a supervisor, because I was able to hone in on my transferable skills. So the biggest thing is you have to not only be the one to identify issues, you need to bring solutions. Right. So maybe there's opportunities where you're coming to your supervisor or someone in charge, you bring solutions, not just identify issues. That's already building your leadership skills. Another thing too, besides taking initiatives, is don't be afraid to ask to be a part of certain projects, right? Let me give you an example. I
Yes.
knew that when I was working in social services, like I mentioned, I started to become more invested in recruiting, HR, talent acquisition. So what I ended up doing was asking my supervisor, hey, can I be the one to hire and source and recruit for the team? Can I take that off your plate? They were like, sure. So I ended up doing that, right? So it wasn't in my title, it wasn't in my job description. It was a particular skill and area that I wanted to learn more on. And that's what I did. I'm like, let me reach out to the benefits department. Let me learn more about, their departments. Like, don't, again, not sometimes it may be a no, sometimes they'll be like, I can't do it, but it doesn't hurt your shot. It doesn't hurt, right? Another thing too is like you can even prep and you can practice in front of the mirror. You can practice and hearing yourself speak because I know imposter syndrome can kick in.
Yes.
But you can also communicate like a leader, right? Being able to ask powerful questions in meeting, like what if we did this, or how might we contribute to this success, et cetera, right? But I think it's always important to invest in your own development and ask for feedback regularly, right? Like be open to constructive criticism. That's another thing as well. Like don't make the criticism mean anything about your worth. Again, the theme today, mental health, don't let anything, really get in the way of you making it feel like it's because of you. It's not you. It's really about evolving and all the skills. But show up as a leader, the leader that you are.
Show up as the leader that you are. I love that. Listen, I appreciate you so much. Having you on, I had Julio Gomez on earlier in Hispanic Heritage Month, and loving having you on. Not anything to do with Hispanic heritage. I think it's really important that you're out here representing you, and I think you do a great job of that. What I'd like to do, if you can, please give our audience just a closing word.
Yes. I would say the biggest thing is be unapologetically you.
Okay, I love
And
it.
I say that in the concept of you know yourself best, right? And I know sometimes certain spaces, certain systems can dictate how we show up in these spaces, right? And I think it's important to kind of recognize that there is an employer out there or there is an opportunity that's going to allow you to be yourself, right? And I understand sometimes certain situations in this current market, you got to do what you got to do. But I think is don't you get to create the success you desire. No degree, no profession, no title is going to dictate your worth but you, right? I want you to embrace who you are. That's the reason why I mentioned embracing unapologetically you, because that is going to lead you to embracing your own confidence in the best way possible. So I am rooting for you all and give yourself some grace.
Give yourself some grace indeed. Listen, please let the audience know how they can stay connected to you and the work you're doing out here, Harleny.
Yes, or you can follow me on LinkedIn at Harleny Vasquez or Instagram, it's Harleny Vasquez. Or if you want to learn more about the resources that I provide, check out my website, yourevolvemind.com.
Man, amazing. Thank you so very much for joining us today. You are simply amazing. Do me a favor, stick around and just kind of hear us out on the close, and I'll be right with you. Listen, this is the work we do each and every Monday on the Kenneth L. Johnson Show. We bring you people like Harleny Vasquez. So I'd like to give a big thank you to her for joining us and sharing such powerful insight on confidence, culture, and career readiness. Clearly, her message is a reminder that no matter where you are in your professional journey, you can lead, you can grow, and you can thrive. And that's what it's really all about. In today's conversation, if that resonated with you, please share it with someone who needs the extra push. Harleny is about mental health and mental wellness, and sometimes a big piece of that is simply encouragement. You can catch this and past episodes and updates from the Kenneth L. Johnson Show on LinkedIn, on YouTube, and right here on 106.5 FM WPPM Philadelphia. The stream stays up. Listen, it's this conversation resonated with me so much today for so many different reasons. Today being Indigenous People Day, and there's so much pain for groups of the population around this particular day, and I think it was perfect. It wasn't even scripted to have Harleny on today because she speaks to people and meets them where they're at, and I think that's an amazing trait that she has. I'm Kenneth L. Johnson, reminding you that every career story is yours. It's still being written, though. And you got to keep thinking about career, culture, community, and where you belong, because you definitely belong here. Until next time, take care and keep building. It's the Kenneth L. Johnson Show live on WPPM 106.5 FM, Philadelphia. Thank you so very much for joining us today. I appreciate you.